Breaking news coming in this afternoon. Sasikala has walked out of Bangalore jail. V K Sasikala, for nearly 8 months, had been imprisoned in Bangalore jail on charges of corruption. She's been granted 5 days parole to travel to Chennai to attend to her sick husband. In fact, expecting her release, her nephew TTV Dinakaran arrived this morning at the Bangalore Central Prison with a group of supporters. Visuals on your screens are of Sasikala's car as she drives out of prison. Sasikala has been granted 5 days parole to attend to her husband M Natarajan, who's 74 years old and is expected to have a liver and kidney transplant on Wednesday. He's been admitted to a hospital since last month after reportedly suffering from multiple organ failure. We have Nolan Pinto, who's with us on the phone line. Nolan, Sasikala driving out of Bangalore jail and surrounded by supporters, as we are seeing.
Well, if you can see these live visuals, there's TTV Dinakaran who's sitting right in front and Sasikala behind. We actually had to jump inside and inside the jail, try and speak to her, but they did not. They actually made sure that no media has any sort of access to her. They're not too sure where they're heading, whether she'll be taking flying or whether she'll be actually heading by road. But we are going to follow her as of now to figure out what's their plan of action to head to Chennai.
Right, those are visuals on our screens of V K Sasikala driving out of Bangalore jail. She's been granted 6 days parole to attend to her sick husband M Natarajan, who's suffering from liver and kidney ailments. He's expected to undergo a liver and kidney transplant on Wednesday. We have Pramod Madhav, who's with us live this afternoon. Pramod, V K Sasikala, they're finally coming out of jail after 8 months. She is allowed to travel to Chennai, but she cannot go to her post-garden residence.
That is true. I mean, this is like after 233 days since she's been in Parapan, Sasikala, there you see the images like where she's coming out of the prison, like she's been escorted by TTV Dinakaran. Her brother's son, Vivek Jayaraman, and his family has also accompanied her, and there you see Sasikala coming out over there. And she is going to come to Chennai. The location that's been given to Karnataka police is that of Ilavarasi's daughter's house, Krishna Priya, which is at T Nagar in Chennai, and not Poise Garden. We did inquire about it, but they said, like, since there is a dispute between the government and this Jilda's family, that the Poise Garden could be made into a memorial. They didn't want to make any big issue out of it, but they stated that Krishna Priya's house is very safe to hold Sasikala as a prisoner inside, and the commute between would be from T Nagar to this global hospital, which is almost 25 kilometers, like one-way distance from there. She has been given 5 days parole, and we've come to know that like the visiting hours for the hospital would be from 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. This is the location between she will go and visit her husband Natarajan, who has undergone a transplantation already. He has undergone a renal transplantation and a liver transplantation.
All right, Sasikala's husband M Natarajan, who's 74 years old, underwent a liver and kidney transplant a few days ago. He was admitted to a hospital last month after multiple organ failure. Those are visuals of Sasikala driving out of Bangalore jail. She's been granted 6 days parole to visit, to attend to her sick husband. She's walking out of jail after nearly 8 months. She's been granted 5 days parole, I beg your pardon, to travel to Chennai to visit her husband in hospital. Pramod Madhav is with us on the phone line. Pramod, you know, this is a special time for Sasikala. She's been granted 5 days parole to visit her ailing husband. But how are the AIADMK party workers reacting to Sasikala walking out of jail? Any special preparations for her in Chennai?
Well, if you need to make a comparison as to like how AIADMK cadres reacted when Jayalalitha was released from Parapan, I would definitely say that there is not even 10% of that hype in Tamil Nadu. But I also have to tell you, like, the AIADMK party, entire party is in shambles right now because there is almost 3 factions, though EPS and OPS call themselves as merged. There is still this dispute between themselves itself, and then we have TTV Dinakaran as well. Sasikala was made as the Interim General Secretary, is only considered as a person who can bring all these members together. And of course, there is a huge hustle inside ACS team itself, because like he does not have complete authority over all the MLAs. Now, there are possibilities like some ministers and MLAs to come and meet her as well. That is why a condition has been placed in the parole that Sasikala should not meet anyone on a political issue or matter. She should be in the house, go to the hospital and come back. Should not participate in any kind of like political meeting or meet any other person in relevance to the political situation of Tamil Nadu. That way they have made it very clear. But Sasikala has to come to Chennai, and we are also hearing that earlier Sasikala wished to go to Amma Memorial and Poets Garden. We still don't know if they have negotiated the issue or not, but they claim the Tamil Nadu police, citing law and order situation, they have stated that she should be only confined to the hospital and the house.
Right, and even while she's out for 5 days, Pramod, she's been asked not to hold any political meetings or address party workers.
Exactly, that is one of the conditions that's been placed in front for giving the parole. Apparently, TTV faction is not happy with that. Like, they actually raised the question claiming if a person called Sanjay Dutt can get parole that easy and like with less conditions, why is Sasikala had to go through such tormentation? Because like she's not even like doing a hard time for a hard time, and that even then she's being treated that way. They claim that these are conspiracies and allegations. I mean, that only bring out the fear from the ECS government, and that's why these kind of conditions have been placed. But from the police end, they claim like they need these conditions to be taken care of. Otherwise, it is very hard for them to maintain the law and order situation in Chennai. As Sasikala was in the prison for almost 8 months, as she mentioned, she is entitled to this parole because of her husband, who was in a critical condition at Global Hospital. He has undergone this organ transplantation as well, but we still the hospital has to give a clear chit as to like how his condition is. She asked for 15 days parole. It has been completely reduced to 5 days. 1/3 of it. Anyway, TTV Dinakaran faction claims that either they first want to bring her out because like her presence in Chennai, which will Tamil Nadu will itself change a lot of things in between the AIADMK party.
Right. We also have Rohini Swami, who's with us on the phone line from Bangalore. Rohini, Sasikala, they're driving out of Bangalore jail after 8 months. There are some party workers who've gathered there to greet her. Of course, she has been allowed to travel to Chennai to attend to her ailing husband, but she's not allowed to address party workers or hold any kind of political meeting. What kind of reactions are you seeing in Bangalore? A handful of supporters are visible, but what's the kind of reception that she's seeing as far as the larger political picture is concerned?
Well, look at it this way, because what has been clearly said is there's a solid clampdown on her movement. Also, the fact that they were trying to bring in a lot of supporters from nearby Hosur, Krishnagiri and other areas just when her parole has been announced. But what is important right now is that the kind of conditions that have been put on, especially on her 5-day parole. And number one, she cannot talk to people, she cannot have meet political leaders, she cannot hold political meetings, she cannot talk to the media. The reason why she's been granted parole is to attend to her ailing husband, and that will be her only reason why she's been given parole, is what the Chennai Commissionerate and the Chennai Commissioner had communicated. It is only on basis of that surety that has been given by her lawyer Ashokan that she has been released on parole. We should remember, she asked for 15 days parole, but she has not been given that after a lot of deliberations and meetings that were held as to whether she should be given full 15 days parole, she had thought. But the jail officials in Bangalore finally decided that they're going to be giving her only 5 days. But this does not include the 2 days that she will use to travel. So today it's not included, but for the next 6 days she will be out. But She will be meeting her husband in Gleneagles Hospital. Let me also tell you, you're asking about reception. Well, there's a lot of enthusiasm that is being seen by the cadre in Tamil Nadu and Chennai. But here back in Bangalore, they have only a handful of supporters there.
Right, Rohini, stay on with us. These are visuals that we are getting of Sasikala driving out from Bangalore jail, where she'd been lodged for the last 8 months on charges of corruption. Sasikala there granted 5 days parole to visit her ailing husband. TTV Dinakaran arrived to welcome Sasikala. The court, of course, has set a few conditions for her parole, including that she cannot address party workers or hold any sort of political meetings. We have Pramod Madhav, who's with us on the phone line from Chennai, and Rohini Swami, who's with us on the phone line from Bangalore. Pramod, you were telling us about about the sort of reception that she's likely to receive from the AIADMK faction, which is still loyal to Sasikala. Some leaders might go visit her, but she's not allowed to address crowds or hold a meeting or meet cadres.
Well, these were the conditions that were put forth by the Tamil Nadu police when Karnataka police asked them to verify two things. Actually, I'm emphasizing on two things because Karnataka police have asked only about the location where Sasikala is going to stay and about the medical records, how clear they are. And then the Tamil Nadu police had gone forward, like we get information from Sasikala's team claiming that that also because of the pressure given by CM EPS faction that these conditions should be put forward because, as you know, we have like so many cases that is lined up in the Madras High Court, being the MLA disqualification case, DMK MLA disqualification case, the flow test and all of the things. And like at this particular moment, Sasikala entering Tamil Nadu will definitely have that huge impact. But the reception in Tamil Nadu, as I said earlier, Jayalalitha, the whole area was like completely covered with people. But like we went and went to the location where she's going to stay. We just saw one banner over there claiming like one person welcoming Sasikala. That's all. No other kind of like big hangama as it used to be with Jayalalitha.
Right. Pramod, stay on with us. Rohini, you're getting us details from Bangalore. Sasikala there driving out of prison after an 8-month-old period. And of course, there's also that, that history where it was reported that she was allowed VVIP treatment. There were rumors that she was given VIP treatment inside the prison and that she had also paid a certain amount to enjoy these privileges. I'm going to come back to you in a bit, Rohini. We have A. Sarvanan of the DMK who's with us on the phone line. Mr. Sarvanan, Sasikala there driving out of jail. She's been granted 5 days parole to attend to her ailing husband. How is the DMK reacting to her? Is she actually being seen as a threat of any sort?
No, nothing. See, this is something which has to be approached on a humanitarian consideration. Mr. Natarajan is on his almost on his verge of he is very, very gravely ill and he has undergone organ transplant. So it is natural that any court will consider court or prisoner that is consider her parole, and they've also imposed strong conditions, stringent conditions on her visit, and she is going to abide by them. And there is going to be no politics in this, I guess.
Right, and of course, there's also that condition that's been set for her parole that she will not have any sort of political interactions.
That's what. They have said that from 9 to 5 she has to be there in the hospital and she cannot meet anybody else other than her relatives. Even inside the prison, whatever is normal things, these people were saying that they were getting instructions from Sasikala to conduct the day-to-day affairs of the party. That is what they were saying. When she is there, of course, she's going to meet somebody, but there is not going to be any overt exposing herself to party members or any kind of political activity.
Thanks so much for speaking to us, Mr. Sarvanan. Let's go back to our team of reporters tracking this story for us. We have Rohini Swami, who's with us on the phone line from Bangalore, and Pramod Madhav from Chennai. Pramod, Sasikala had sought 15 days parole. Her initial request had been turned down because of some technical glitches.
That is true. The initial request, like even at that point, TTV Dinakaran on 2nd of October, Gandhi Jayanti, was very sure that Sasikala would be released the next 2 days. But like what happened is that at the last moment, the Karnataka officials claimed that there was a technical glitch over there, stating that medical report that was submitted was not like the one which had attestation of the government, and that's the reason they initially denied the parole. But also the authorities stated like if they can immediately for another application, and that's what TTV Dinakaran did. This time, whatever they required were furnished. The conditions also given, and as you mentioned earlier, there is still kind of like a flu situation in Tamil Nadu because like 2 days ago, one of the ministers called O.S. Manian, the handloom minister who is in the CM EPS cabinet, he openly said that he will he has no problem meeting Sasikala if she comes on parole. That is where the issue started and the other conditions were brought forward. And then and only then, like the next set of conditions were given to Karnataka authorities stating that she has to abide by this. Otherwise, the Tamil Nadu police will have a lot of trouble. Now, they are not claiming that like this is like politically oriented, but they state like that they fear the life of the prisoner because she's a high-profile prisoner. And that is how this has been put forward as a word we are getting from the government.
Right, and Pramod, of course, TTV Dinakaran had also gone there to welcome Sasikala.
very much. TTV Dinakaran, her brother's son Vivek Jayaraman, his wife and their relatives are also gone over there. We have this Karnataka AIADMK Secretary Pugareddy is also over there. TTV Dinakaran faction disqualified MLA Bettivel is the person who's currently in Chennai. He's the one taking care of all the situation over here, setting up everything here. She has been already, the condition is that earlier they booked a ticket for her in Jet Airways around 4:15 p.m. But right now there could be a change of plan as well. It's also possible that she can take the road to Chennai, and she will be accompanied by Karnataka police officials from there to Chennai. And when she reaches Chennai, extra protection will be given by the Tamil Nadu police, but the whole authority of being around her would be given with Karnataka police only.
All right, Pramod and Rohini, thanks so much for those details. We're going to keep coming back to you for more on this story.